when did you first discover your leadership qualities or abilities?
Wow. You know what? I think, a gangster doesn't call himself a gangster. Like Tony Soprano probably didn't call himself a gangster.
Right.
I think when you are driven, when you have a purpose-driven life, other people call you leader.
Hello, and welcome to the Leadership Reality Podcast with your girl, Tige Charity. This podcast is for C-suite leaders to discuss their experiences and provide insight, encouragement, and inspiration for seasoned and inspiring leaders, offering valuable solutions to today's challenges that will inspire, ignite, and invigorate new and seasoned leaders to walk in their God-given authority with compassion, kindness, and empathy. So sit back, relax, and be prepared to be inspired with today's episode of Leadership Reality. Thank you. Welcome to another episode of Leadership Realities with me, Tige Charity, where we will be sharing tales from the top. Y'all, my friend is here today, Miss Syd Stewart. She is the founder and CEO of Better Youth, a social impact nonprofit organization based in South LA with the mission to build creative confidence, bridge resource gaps, and prepare foster and system impacted youth for sustained success in the creative economy. Syd is a former educator for Girl Up, a teen girls empowerment initiative through the United Nations Foundation. Ms. Stewart was a former director of Usher's New Look Foundation and LAUSD Beyond the Bell Arts and Education Program, where she managed grant programs for 2 high schools and 5 community satellite sites in Watts. Syd is also a screenwriter and filmmaker. She a bad girl, y'all. As a youth advocate, Syd serves on the Career Technical Education Advisory Council for LA Unified School District, the Advisory Council for the Foster Together Network, steering committee member for LA County Mentoring Nexus, and an inaugural member of a national leadership cohort for Mentor. In addition, she was appointed for the California State Interagency Committee on Apprenticeships for the Division of Industrial Relations and the Division of Apprenticeship Standards. Y'all know I'm like a little kid at a candy store right now. Where do you even find the time, Miss Syd?
You asking me? Come on.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me here. This is so fantastic. I always love when I'm in the studio. It feels like home, so I can imagine what your young people feel.
Absolutely. You know my home is your home.
Amen.
Yay.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Syd, first let's talk about Better Youth. Better Youth is an amazing nonprofit organization. We both serve youth in foster care and system impacted youth. And it's so funny sometimes when I'm out and about and I'm talking about kids, they're like, oh, like Better Youth. I'm like, somewhat, yes, somewhat like Better Youth, similar.
But that's good because we always hear kids in the spotlight, kids in the spotlight. I always say when I grow up and when I leave Better Youth, I'm going to be right at Kids in the Spotlight.
Oh, you know what?
So save me a seat.
We right there, honey. We are partners on this journey together. And I just so admire you and all the work that you're doing. And I get to serve some of the same youth that you serve.
Absolutely.
So we talk about a partnership made in heaven. God knew what he was doing.
He sure did. I remember meeting you years ago at PBS when Kathy Jura had her initiative there.
That's where we met.
And then, I'd known Franco. I think what's key to this work is, like you said, collaboration. Being a collaborative leader means that you not only represent your post that you've been assigned to and the youth that have been assigned to you, but you also have a responsibility to serve the community at large, right? So your youth are my youth and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And so if being a collaborative leader, which I learned this from Kelly Hogan, so shout out to City Scholars.
City Scholars. I think, girl, every episode I'm talking about City Scholars, right? Yes.
She is such an amazing leader, but we were just talking recently about, collaborating and being a collaborative leader. And she coined it where I could understand it, but I was explaining to her, like, the joy of supporting kids, the joy of supporting Regan, because I know she's going to be on the show, Seen and Heard. Franco, who supported us, incubated us for a couple of years in his space. That's what collaborative leadership looks like. It's like when you can see beyond your particular mission and the larger mission of serving these young people, because we can't do it all.
No, it takes a village.
It literally takes a village, but I think also the mentality behind it's not competition, right? We're all in this together.
Absolutely.
And your needs become my needs. And so that's kind of like my next frontier of learning how I can serve at a greater capacity by being concerned with the needs outside of Better Youth, actually.
Absolutely. I know you and I will phone each other up in a minute. Like, we got a youth. This youth needs it. If you can't do anything else, can you pray?
Didn't we? I mean, really?
That's
honestly,
how we roll.
We just had that conversation before getting on camera.
That's how we roll. Like, if you can't do anything else, can you just
That's
pray?
right.
I got a kid that's in a crisis right now.
That's right.
Can you just pray? And I love that.
Absolutely.
I was sharing with another one of my guests. We were talking about partnership and collaboration, and I was telling her early on in KITS, around year 5, how for me, I felt like partnership was one of those things where I got a bad example of it. I was called in to present the work we do under the pretense that they were gonna be bringing our program to their location. And after 3 meetings with like some of the top executives, rolling out our strategy and how we do the program, only to find somebody a couple of months later sent me a flyer and say, "Wait, isn't this your program?" So they attended to it. And I was like, so it gave me such a bad taste for partnership. But then God saw fit to bring this thing around and have me meet amazing leaders like you. And we just
Absolutely.
joined at the hip in doing the work together.
Absolutely. I can't
together.
even imagine that, because that's theft in a broader sense. But
Yes.
I think when someone recognizes something that's pure and authentic, right? They want a piece of it, they want to duplicate it. But what God has given you is unique. And honestly, I remember meeting you, and I had heard about Kids in the Spotlight from Edwina Finley. So shout out to Edwina, because I know she
Love
supports
her.
both of our
Yes.
organizations,
Yes.
and she's a fantastic actress, and she's a mentor for us. But she was telling me about your organization, and I remember studying it. And I think when you really have an authentic purpose, right? God has given you a purpose. There's no need to worry about what somebody else is doing in the space. But what you can do is learn how effective that other organization is being, and you can learn from them. So I just, I was just so blessed to meet you and how supportive you've been. I mean, we do similar things, but God has given you a mission and me a mission, and then together, just think how powerful that can be. Absolutely. But I remember learning about KITS and was, still learning, because I mean, this work, you're constantly learning how to serve young people better, right? Absolutely. In the spirit of excellence. And when you find an organization or organizations that are doing it, I feel like, learning from them is the kind of the best course of action.
Absolutely.
Rather than trying to take or extract something that really isn't authentic to you, because you can do the same thing, but you're going to do it differently because your POV is different.
Absolutely.
Your experiences are different.
Absolutely.
So
you sound like my husband, because when that happened and I saw the flyer and I showed him, he said, "Tige, it's not Kids in the Spotlight. They don't have you." And I was like, thank
Pretty
you
much.
for that. But it was so, because I was just so willing to share, and I still am. I'm very open. Look, there are so many kids that need services. So if you want to duplicate it, just be upfront about it. We would have had the same meetings if I'd have known.
Right.
But I came in under a different
understanding.
Exactly. So it just felt very manipulative for me. But when my husband put it in that perspective, it was like, it won't be the same. I don't care.
You're the secret sauce. And, God, right?
Absolutely.
When you put God at the center of it, like that favor, that it doesn't matter what somebody else is doing, like what he has put into your spirit. Certain kids are assigned to your organization. I mean, the secret sauce is God. So, I mean, and God is no author of confusion, and he's not a thief.
That's look, Syd, girl, let me sit to hold. Oh, we just getting started, y'all. We just getting started. All right, I'm gonna pace myself. So, Syd, tell me, but tell me a little bit about the mission of Better Youth. Share with our audience all the services that Better Youth provides.
Yeah, so we are a creative youth development agency, and I think at the core of our mission is to build creative confidence, right? Yes. To validate voice, and to also, provide resources and provide the needed social support. So I think that's key to any program.
Right.
I think when you and then also just loving on kids, right?
Yes.
Loving on them
Absolutely.
and not judging their journey.
Right.
But for us, it really is to bridge that digital divide, right? And to address those diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility issues that we find in arts, media, entertainment, and even tech. To prepare these young people for personal and professional success. So it's a holistic approach. And at the root of it is just like, what is uniquely you, right?
Yes.
Once you connect to that core, it doesn't matter. Some kids go off and leave, Better Youth. They were in gaming and they go into cybersecurity, or they go, we just went to Warner Brothers, and some kids are interested in tech production. But at the end of the day, they are confident in who they are and what they bring to the table. And as you know, youth and care come from varied experiences that would otherwise not validate that experience that they've had.
Right.
But resilience is key to these young people's survival. And so building and having a strength-based approach of saying everything that you have, your whole toolkit is unique.
Yes.
How do we use that in telling your narrative and going out and expressing to the world and going out and letting people know that you have something to give that no one else has.
Yes.
And that, I think, is key. But I think with social support, providing nutrition. Every time kids come to the lab, we got food. We start off with food.
There you go. Because baby, they come ready to eat. I'm like, good Lord, it's cheaper to clothe you than to feed you.
Ready to eat. That budget is expensive, but it's necessary. That's a basic need.
Absolutely.
Transportation, basic need. Shout out to Hop, Skip, Drive. We're part of their impact program because transportation is important. Housing, helping navigate. But I think we, know our lane. We're media arts folks. We're practitioners, we're artists, we're writers, but we also are human beings, and understanding that you need a network and you need support all throughout your journey to be successful. So building that community. So we have 4 tenets. We say soft, hard, home, and hustle. So we teach.
I like that.
soft skills.
Hard, home, and hustle.
Soft, hard, home, and hustle. So soft skills, the professional development, workplace etiquette that you need to navigate in a workplace. Technical skills, just the basic technical skills in animation, gaming, filmmaking, project management. And home, which is really building a community, because you don't age out of family.
Right, a sense of belonging.
A sense of belonging.
Nothing can compare to feeling like you belong.
And it doesn't matter who you are, what gender preferences, all of that. When you come, you're an artist.
Yes.
We're artists here at Better Youth, and then hard, right, or hustle. It's really that tenacity, that persistence, that motivation, and that drive to succeed. And I think when you pour all that into a young person, like Keon, so Keon's the example.
Exactly. So Syd actually referred this young man to our program, Keon, and we're actually shooting their film tomorrow. He's part of a cohort at our USC program, and we're getting ready to shoot their film tomorrow.
He's an example of all of those things coming together. He's a fellow in our program, going off to Howard University on Sunday. And his hustle will continue when he gets to Howard. But, he came in the door with a little bit of that, but we strengthened it, fine-tuned it. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
So I have no doubt that Keon will be
gonna
successful.
Excel. Absolutely. And plus, he has that village around him.
Still.
He has your organization. He has Kids in the Spotlight. And he was part of Seen and Heard.
Sure was.
Organization.
Sure
I saw their
was.
video the other day. And I was like, is that Keon?
Sure was.
I'm like, you better tap into all of it, okay, baby
That's
boy?
right.
Tap into. And I love that.
That's right.
I love that.
That's
but I
right.
want to say, so you actually had to evolve. Like, I love the way you frame all of what you do so beautifully and so impactfully. And we've had to really frame that, because when you were writing grants for funders for the longest time, they were like, oh, that's cute, they make film. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much bigger than making a film. That's the end result. That's the tangible product that they can go back and look at and celebrate their accomplishment. But it's all the in between that they're getting.
Yep.
And learning how to make a film. Because you don't just make a film.
It's the professional development. It's the collaboration. It's the 21st century skills.
Absolutely.
It's networking. It's professional etiquette. And you know what? We could be teaching anything, really.
Right.
What I realized is, matching purpose with passion. Like, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a creative. So it's like, what do I know that I can teach that I'm passionate about?
Yes.
But I think when you provide all of those things, it could be film, it could be basket weaving, it could be whatever.
Right.
It's like you're providing an opportunity for young people to evolve.
Yes.
To evolve in an authentic, pure way where they
Yes.
can discover themselves and be curious. And it's without judgment.
Yes.
And it's like if you decide not to go off and be Ava DuVernay or with Keon, the next Denzel Washington,
right?
you know,
Or
that's
Spike
okay.
Lee, whichever lane you go
He's
in.
going to be a hybrid and
All of that.
be something that we'll all be sitting at his premieres at. But if he decides and he gets to Howard that he's going to go do something else, we've built that confidence in him that you can make a decision, you could self-advocate for
Yes.
yourself,
Yes.
and you could take care of yourself. At the end of the day, that you have the skills necessary to go work, get a job, be an entrepreneur, but just do
Yes.
something,
Do something successful.
for yourself
Something to
and be
make- yes.
successful. Absolutely.
And be just a positive contributor to society.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. So let me just ask you, when did you first discover your leadership qualities or abilities?
Wow. You know what? I think, a gangster doesn't call himself a gangster. Like Tony Soprano probably didn't call himself a gangster.
Right.
I think when you are driven, when you have a purpose-driven life, other people call you leader. You're just doing what God told you to do. And I think it really, honestly, was City Scholars, like hovering all the eagles in the space, like you and Dr. Charity, and really owning that title as a CEO or a leader. But I think
Embracing your role as a
role,
CEO.
Embracing it. I think I'm just coming into that, honestly.
Are
I'm
you
just
serious?
I mean,
you girl.
just coming into like, okay, this is what it is to be a leader. Because when you're out there and God has sent you on a mission, that's what it is. And other people may call that leader, people call that activist.
Right.
All I know is that I'm a servant.
Yes.
And that's what it is. I'm a servant. But I think, coming into that, it's just like now it's just like the fruits of the labor and understanding like, because we need community too.
Absolutely.
You need to be around other leaders that are having challenges, and when, because you often operate in a bubble.
Yes.
And so, or a vacuum. And so what's great is to say, okay, I embrace that role as a leader. Now, what does that mean? What other additional responsibilities do I have? And how can I learn from others? Like, I watched Franco's growth, his trajectory, and I'm watching Reagan's and just other leaders. And so now just really starting to embrace that. Call myself a leader.
Look, I started City Scholars about 7, maybe 8 years ago, and I was in that same place. Like Kellyanne was like, Tige, the work that you're doing is amazing. And for you, it's ministry. She said, I understand that. She said, but you're running a business. So I need you to now change the lane. Like you stay, it's still that ministry component, what you're doing. You're a servant. I understand that. But as a servant, you still need to have the leadership qualities as you grow, as you develop, as you build your team. Absolutely. And of course, it started with just me and developing that confidence of being a leader. I told Kellyanne one time, I remember being out and I had on a Kids in the Spotlight t-shirt. I was at a restaurant on Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks. And this two white ladies ran up to me and they was like, oh my gosh, I know that organization. I know Kids in the Spotlight. And I'm like, oh, great, thank you. And they was like, do you work with Kids in the Spotlight? And I was like, yes, I do. And they said, I know your board president. He's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sharing this with Kellyanne, all proud that, people recognizing us in the street.
Right.
And she said, did you tell them you were the CEO and founder? I was like, no. And why not? And I was just like, I didn't even think it was relevant. And she said, it's relevant because I need you to embrace what you've done and that role. And it was so hard for me.
Absolutely.
And she really started to peel back the layers as to why
She's good at that.
I'm like, I feel like this is therapy right now. Kellyanne.
She's good at that. She's good at that.
Good.
But it is an aspect. And I think even in the Bible, it talks about being wise as serpents, harmless as doves, but also there's a shrewd manager, right?
Yes.
That understands business, and our business is taking care of young people. And so I know you're incorporated, I'm incorporated, we are in the business of taking care of these young people. And so in embracing that role, I'm also embracing that responsibility and embracing being a financial steward, marketing, all the aspects and the tenets of what it takes to run a business. I think that is why City Scholars has been so helpful. And all the, leadership institutes I've done over the years is really understanding that we're creating a legacy. And I remember, I think Kellyanne said something that it would be an injustice for you to do all this work and then have it go by the wayside. Like, this is a legacy.
If anything happens to you, who's going to carry
Who's going to carry the torch? And
because who's going to do all that you do? And that was another thing for me when it came to compensation. She was like, it's not even a realistic salary. You are a CEO. I need you to compensate. And I was like, well, we going to get the money from Kellyanne. And so, just taking us through that growth trajectory.
And that faith to say, you know what? I should be paid. And, giving myself raises. And, I was more concerned with giving raises to my staff.
Absolutely.
Program. Everybody else was
too.
good. And I was taking a hit. And I'm just like, no, that's not good business.
Right.
Everybody should be, it's equity, right? Absolutely. It should be equitable across the board. And when I'm successful, guess what?
Right.
Everybody in the team is successful because great people make other people great.
Absolutely. And I love the way, for me, how she framed it. She said, so if anything happened to you, your board cannot hire another CEO at this level because nobody's going to do the job
at that
compensation
And so
level.
Why are you? Why are we?
And I was like, oh, okay. But it's so good just being amongst leaders who can mentor you, right?
That's true.
Who are some of the other leaders who've mentored you on your journey?
Oh my goodness. So I have a mentor. He's the president of Universal Music Publishing. His name is Evan Lamberg. And I went to work for him in New York years ago. And he saw my potential. I was on his desk, still producing plays and running Better Youth and all of these things. He definitely has mentored me as a writer and as an artist. I had two mentors. One was Cicely Tyson. She took me under her wing and shared some jewels with me.
I just want to say that.
And I just couldn't. It was just something. I was doing a film in New York at the time. And for some reason, I don't know how I got connected with her, but I used to call her and she just would give me jewels. And so her passing was personal. Walter Mosley is another writer, mentor that just was like, if you're not writing every day, you're not a writer. And I just was like, like you should be doing the thing that you say you are. And so those are some like creative and just kind of outside of the nonprofit space too, because I think you can learn what it takes to be successful on any level and then apply it to like your lane.
Yes.
But I would say, those three people, and then I do have to give a shout out to Dr. Maya Angelou, because I did have an encounter with her that stayed with me forever.
Met her too?
I did a tribute poem to her in Atlanta, and I was so excited. And this is a true story, but we were behind stage, and I had crafted this poem, and so we were sitting ready to go on stage. And I was like, still in my little hip hop zone. I'm like, I'm about to rock your piece, Dr. Angela. She was like, she clutched her pearls like, who am I sitting next to? I was like, oh my God. So when I went out, I was a little crushed. And I went out and I did my poetry. And then on the way back, she was, and I have this on tape, she was coming on the stage and she had her arms held out. And she hugged me and she said, you're a fine poet. And I guess, different generations are different.
Right.
But, hip hop gets a bad rap. We're 50 years old. But I guess she could understand who I was in the language. Like she heard, it was a tribute to her. Like I know who you are in your work. Yes. And if maybe sitting next to you, I didn't articulate that well, in my work I did. And so when she embraced me, it was, again, a validation. We all need that. We all need somebody telling us
we really do.
that we're okay and what we have to offer is valid. Adults.
Absolutely.
So imagine,
Kids.
Young people, still, we still need that. So those are some folks. And you. I claim you. Yes, I claim you because
it's already hot in here. Now you're going to make me start sweating.
I'm telling you, you are the collaborative leader that I talk about as an example. You are always opening up doors. And I'm not talking about little doors that you got to scrunch down to get into. I'm talking about doors that you got to put your heels on, your suit on, and walk through. I'm talking about the doors that you open for other people. You are also a mentor.
Thank you. Well, the feelings are absolutely mutual. I hope you know that.
I appreciate that.
I hope you. It's so funny when I'm talking. Sometimes I get a call from a young person. Like we had a young lady, and she was in the hospital, and I found out from one of my team members, and I got a hold of her. And I was like, "Well, who was in the hospital with her?" Syd is here. Oh, she's in good hands. Yes, she's in good hands. I was like, "Okay, I can go back to sleep now.
Amen.
My baby taken care of."
Amen.
Because Syd is there,
Amen.
and I love that because you really do show up for our young people. And I know last year we decided to do, after we got this space, we decided to host a Thanksgiving for our young people. It's always been one of my heart's desire, like for young people to always have a place to call home on Thanksgiving, to get a good meal, to come together, family, watch movies, laugh, play game, whatever. And so we were able to do it last year. And you even came to that.
Absolutely.
I was just like, this.
Absolutely. And Jamia and who else was here? Alexis.
Girl, I can't even tell you who I was. They were just here.
I took
doing
video,
karaoke, and everything.
And the gumbo though.
And the gumbo.
I'm
still.
That gumbo. And then your husband was clowning me because I was trying to put the rice.
Girl, my husband clowned everybody.
Listen, that's what family does. It was a family. It just felt so good. And like when I come into this space, I know if I feel it, imagine what your youth,
that's what we want.
Feel when they come in.
Mission accomplished. We always say, welcome home. It's a place for you to belong. Like this is, we exist because of you.
But I do remember sitting with you at P.F. Chang's. I don't know how many years ago.
Yes,
This studio wasn't here.
No, it wasn't.
And I remember sitting with you and you were like, I'm opening up a studio. And your faith and your belief, because faith is the substance of things hoped for, visions of things
evidence
not
of things
seen.
Not seen, girl, right.
And it was not seen, but I could see it because you could see it. And I remember, and I marked that day in my head. And then to be sitting in this fantastic space that you've created, and I'm sure it hasn't been easy. And I know, the thing you posted on LinkedIn about ownership not going to Black folks and all of that, that's just a whole other thing.
Right.
But that's breakthrough and that's pioneering. And I remember sitting with you. And so those are the things that motivate other people. Like we are praying and, readying ourselves for our own building as well, because I think ownership is important for people of color and to establish a home. But again, marrying, you did it. I'm like, well, shoot.
Yes, that's right.
I can do it too.
Absolutely right. Speaking of that, did you apply for that acquisition grant?
We did not. We did not apply for it. I think when we looked at it, it wasn't the right opportunity for us.
I know it was a very fast turnaround for that particular grant.
It was. Yes. And it was for just acquisition. It didn't allow for development and some other things.
Right, and it had to be an abandoned building that you purchased, so you would have to put up the money to do the renovation and all of that. Yes, absolutely.
We have our eye on this building that I've already claimed.
I'm standing with you. I'm standing with you. It is.
Yep.
I can't wait.
Yep.
I can't wait to come to the ribbon cutting.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be there.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be there.
Absolutely.
So, how many team members do you have now?
So we have 14 people on our team.
Wow.
And a lot of them are alum that we so
Even
we have
better.
junior leadership. So we have junior leadership and senior leadership. So we have Sean Jackson, who's our just got promoted to our he's our CIO, our Chief Innovation Officer.
Congratulations,
after being
Sean.
with us for years. That's a big accomplishment for him. He's just been with us since the inception and in the trenches, and he's an incredible partner. We have our CFO, Larry, which I gotta hook him up with Raleigh, so they can, compare notes.
Absolutely.
And then we have our facilitators for our labs. So we have 3 of those in our media arts lab, and then we have some junior leadership that either was an alum or was a volunteer. So we kind of have like that William Morris structure where you
Okay.
start off either as a mentor, as a volunteer.
And for those who don't know, William Morris is an agency, like one of the largest talent
Well,
and literary agent.
went to William Morris Endeavor, I think now, WME.
Yeah, they've
but
changed the name, yes.
yeah, but they had the concept of everybody starts in the basement. Everybody starts in the mailroom and works their way up, because I think there is a level or a layer of humility within that. And I love, and we adopted that model. So anybody that comes to us pretty much starts off volunteering, mentoring,
that.
because you got to understand who we are from
Absolutely.
the inside. And
Get some skin in the game.
Skin in the game. We have Charmaine, who has been with us for 6 years. She's stepping into a program manager's role.
Yes.
We have a new workforce development advisor coming on. She's on our advisory council. She's a former administrator at LAUSD, and she's stepping into a role. So one, they know the organization, and they know the kids, and the kids know them.
It's nothing like having your alums, and also alums with the lived experience. Like they can, those are your consultants. They're the best consultants.
Absolutely.
Because they understand.
Breon's our social media specialist.
Yeah, I remember we referred Breon.
You sure did.
To Better You.
Sure
Because she's
did.
just such an amazing
She
talent.
is killing it.
And I'm like, look,
She's killing it.
do this program. And I just love that she's still with you all.
Yeah, she's been what we hired her. She's, taking what she learned in animation and applying it, to real world work until her work in animation blossoms. But she's taking what she's learned and applying it. So now she has a different skill set as a social media specialist. And now when she, beyond Better Youth, she can go out and apply for a couple of jobs.
Absolutely.
And, be
Not
ready.
just one, y'all, a couple of
Couple
jobs.
of
All
them.
right, because she got skills.
That's right.
And she also has the emotional confidence now to be able to
She
go out
is
and apply for
fantastic.
those jobs. Your leedership is just so phenomenal. And they keep telling me I got to get ready to wrap this up. I don't want to wrap this up.
I don't either,
okay?
but we can always do lunch. We don't have to have y'all on camera in our business.
But this is just how we talk, right?
Right.
But I remember being in I think it was a fireside chat that Dr. Charity Chandler Cole was holding at Casa LA. And there was a young lady who runs your Reel to Reel.
Jaszmin Rivers.
Jaszmin, and she was asking about leaders that they admire. And she was like, there was this woman that used to always wear heels at this school, and everybody kept saying, I need to speak with her. And I'm like, this is interesting. Who is she talking about? She said, her name was Syd Stewart. I'm like, of course it was. Of course it was
love
Syd.
Jaszmin.
And just to hear
her.
the young people talk about how much they admire you and love you and how you show up for them is just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's the best gift. I was in Atlanta, so I am a writer, so I do want to do a shameless plug.
Yes, you are. A
so
phenomenal
there
writer.
is- so when I was in Atlanta, I was back and forth with Jaszmin during breaks on set, like still mentoring her, because we have a film festival coming up in October 5th at LA Film School that Jaszmin is running within our 10-year anniversary.
We got some films going this year.
We sure do.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
sure do. I can't wait. That film was so good. I don't want to give a
you.
spoiler, but it
Okay.
was so good. So she has her team, and I've known Jaszmin since she was 14. So she's a partner. I mean, she's a
Yes.
founding member
She's
of Better You.
sharp.
She
sharp.
is. I've just the privilege and honor to have seen her grow.
Yes.
And she's seen me grow. We've been on our journeys together. Very transparent leadership, omnidirectional. Along my journey, many people may not know that, but I was homeless running Better Youth, and spent some years from lived experience myself. So I think when you serve a population, there's some connection that you have, and Jaszmin witnessed that, and I never was afraid to say, hey, I've been there. I know what it's like to be on the bus and on the train and, doing all of that. I'll take a train to Watts and figure out why I'm hosting a program where if youth have to catch a train, I should be able to catch a train just like they can. But Jaszmin is a partner, she's my mentee, goddaughter. Partner inclined, but watching her journey, she worked at Disney and then came, and now she's running her own platform, which is a blessing because we check in, we got a meeting tonight, but she's surrounded by a team of her peers and mentors. Latrice is another one that we're just working together. It's, we're better together. We always say we're better together because each one teaches one. One day I'm a teacher, one day I'm a student. It's omnidirectional mentorship and leadership, because when I'm gone, this is the succession plan.
Yes.
Y'all
This
are the
is
succession plan.
right?
Yes, this is designed. Yes.
Ooh, I don't even need to ask you what nuggets you would leave for other aspiring leaders, because I feel like you've dropped so many nuggets that we can all just grab. I even like the partner in climb. I'm like using that. My partner in climb. We climbing together.
Together, because I don't have all the answers. You know,
That's right.
Janae comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge that I don't know, and what I can share. But what I promise to be is authentic as possible. I'm not perfect. I'm purpose, though.
Yes. And you're present. And you're present. Oh, y'all, do I have to? Do I have to wrap
Thank you,
it
my
up?
sister.
Thank you, Syd.
Thank you.
I feel like this is like just the scripture in action, iron sharpening iron. Every time
That's
I'm
what it
around you, I
is.
feel like I just get sharpened.
That's what it is.
I
And
just get
we're not
sharpened.
afraid to say we're Marketplace Ministries.
That part. That part. Thank you.
It got warm in here.
Girl, look.
Not where, I mean, like, the
Yes.
love in here is so warm. So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you for
Absolutely.
inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh, y'all. Okay, this is so hard. But we do have to land this plane. Y'all, that is another episode of Leadership Realities with my girl, my friend, my partner in climb, Miss Syd Stewart, the CEO and founder of Better Youth Foundation. So I just hope you gained you had to have gained something today that you can use on your leadership journey. So remember to do those 3 magical words: like, subscribe, and share. And also thank you again to my amazing production team, our producer Kimberly Sparks, our jack of all trades who handles the cameras, the lights, the mics, and anything else you want to think of, Mr. Ed Broaddus himself, who's also our studio manager, and his amazing interns like Mr. Noel and a couple of other these young folks that he's training. So I just want to say thank you. We could not do this work without you. So until next time, don't forget, remember, like, share, and subscribe. Bye now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. I hope you were inspired and you gained some valuable nuggets that will help you to become a better leader and to walk in your God-given authority. Bye, until next time.